So today we bring to you this discussion on Peter Obi's movement and leaving the PDP for the Labour Party. And of course, I won't be doing this all by myself. Of course, some interesting, wonderful guests that will be here to talk about the topic of discussion today. So today we bring to you this discussion. All right, to do justice to the topic of discussion today, which is Peter Obi have to Aso Villa with a new party. We have Dr. Law Mefo. We also have Mr. Azike Anthony Namdi. And we also have Honorable Sani Said Al-Tukri. We also have Mr. Chidi Obioma and Mr. Obie Mwachuku. We also have Honorable Ahmed Sajo to discuss this topic for today, which is Mr. Peter Obi's path to Aso Villa. Of course, I'll quickly open the floor for our guest to introduce himself and take the floor. First, we have Dr. Mefo. Dr. Mefo, please, may you unmute yourself and say hello to the audience. And of course, tell us your take on Mr. Obi's leaving the People's Democratic Party for Labour Party.
Thank you. My name is Dr. Lomefo. You have already said that. And I am a Peter Obi believer, follower, and I don't know how else to put it. And his exit from PP and then put into Labour Party, for me, I see it as the smartest political move made in contemporary times. And if you go around what happened at the PDP convention that just ended hours ago, you would see that Peter Obi, is right. And his predictions just came through the way he talked about them. The PDP convention, everybody could see that the presidential ticket of the PDP was up for and to the highest bidder. You see, one thing people need to know is that it's not as if Peter Obi couldn't descend into the arena and also bid and perhaps outbid or be outbidded, but he just couldn't bring himself that low to the point of having to buy the ticket with which he would have to serve the people. So that is one point that needs to be really understood. He left the PDP because he saw it that the ticket was up for bidding. He didn't want to bid. He felt he should offer himself to serve the people of Nigeria, and not having to bring himself to the point that he has to buy the ticket to be in a position to serve them. That is an aberration. It's not proper. So I am with Peter Obi on that. He didn't have to buy the ticket. He left, and it was the wisest decision, if you ask me. So I think his exit is showing a clear example of the direction our democracy has to move. Those who do not understand him must examine his actions from that perspective. When they do, they will see the wisdom in it and why it will really show the direction we have to move if we have to recover our country from the people that have taken all of us hostage.
Okay, so some people some of his supporters had said earlier that he ought to have left before this time. Do you think him leaving now was too late, or he did it at the right time?
No. The time he left, I believe it was the best moment. If he left much earlier, many wouldn't see why he was leaving. And I think he delayed for two reasons, so that the people could see what he was saying and to see if the party, the PDP, could also regain perspective. And it was obvious that the party was not interested in changing anything, the better. They just wanted the old ways of having to use money to determine everything. And you can see those who really relied on money rather than strategic engagement lost out. An example is a Wike. Wike, believed that the ticket was his. Wike really, he should be seen as the ultimate loser in this whole process, because he abandoned the party, he abandoned the constitution of the PDP, he abandoned Southern solidarity, he abandoned, social justice, equity. He abandoned what could have even given him weekend victory. He abandoned all that, believing that money would be enough. He's the governor of one of the richest states in Nigeria, Rivers. So the security vote he gets on a Rivers account, he believed was enough. So he could convert it to dollars and try to buy his way. But at the end of the money canceled money. Money canceled money. There is evident. Everybody saw it to the point that EFCC had to storm the arena. Money was involved. Votes were being bought. Delegates were being bought. And we must address this fact. And Peter Obi saw it coming. Peter Obi didn't want to be part of it. He left and he joined Labour Party, where it will be direct politics with Nigerian masses. And that is what will count ultimately, unless the masses don't want change. If they want change, Peter Obi is their man.
Thank you very much for that submission. Just while we were talking, one of our guests did come in. You're welcome, Honorable Said Sani Atakri. Well, welcome. Okay, so a quick question before I move to the other guests that just came in and will be coming. On the 21st of May, Peter Obi supporters hit the streets of Nigeria because the march was in the whole country, in all the states in Nigeria, asking the PDP delegates to give Peter Obi the ticket for the forthcoming elections. Now, what do you have to say, being that Peter Obi is no longer with the PDP, and the march was done under the umbrella of the PDP delegates giving Peter Obi that?
Now, let me quickly say this. The 1 million man march for Peter Obi this May wasn't necessarily done on the auspices or platform of the PDP. It was Nigerian masses wide, and PDP was there, and other segments of Nigeria were also there. So even he left the PDP political platform, he left because the masses he came out to serve, their interests, are no longer being addressed under the platform of the PDP. What this means is that the issue of political party has to be set aside. And truly, if you look at it, there is no political party in Nigeria as a matter of fact. Political parties are predicated on ideologies. There is no ideology, backgrounding what you may call political party in Nigeria. So you don't have any party system. That is why the former two-time governor of PDP, one-term senator of PDP, in the person of Abdullahi Adamu, is today the national chairman of the APC. Omishore is the national secretary of the APC. He was the senator of the PDP. So between the PDP and the APC, you are talking about two Siamese twins, indistinguishable, twosome. They are the same, two sides of the same coin. So you can't talk about political party system now. I read somewhere where somebody was saying that Peter Obi cannot join Labour when he's a capitalist. You know, do people really understand who Peter Obi is? Peter Obi is not that kind of capitalist. Peter Obi is a capitalist, a multi-billionaire in dollars and in pounds who has no private jet. He doesn't need it. He is one man who could use 2 pairs of shoes for 2 years. He doesn't need it. One watch for 2, no capitalist would do that. So you don't look at Peter Obi as a capitalist. You don't look at him from political party ideology because there is none. People are following Peter Obi. They are not following what you may call PDP or following Labour. They are following the brand, the man that has offered them hope, the man that has assured them that there is a way and a chance for them to retrieve Nigeria from the cabal, from the elites, from the conspirators that have seized our commonwealth, our common resources, our future. Peter Obi is offering himself to lead the process of bringing about a disruption that will change all this nonsense. Didn't you see what happened at the PDP convention just hours ago? We all saw what happened. We saw how money decided who became and how it all ended. Can't people give Peter Obi some credit for once for pointing to what would happen before he really exited? And it turned out to be exactly what he said, that they are going to sell the PD presidential ticket. They bidded for it. And Atiku won because he brought much more money and got somebody who also brought as much money to step down for him. He combined the goodwill of Tambuwal, the money supplied by Tambuwal and himself, and he was able to supplant and surpass that of Nyesom Wike of Rivers State. So it's not about money. If you want to change Nigeria, you have to change this kind of process so that our country can be recovered from the path of perdition and be put on the process and trajectory that will be, arriving at a country, at a nation that will be working for all of us. I am sure that you want a Nigeria that will work for all of us. That is what Peter Obi is saying. He is saying that he cannot do that under the auspices of the PDP. That is the same old process. Now you ask one question, was it not too late by the time he left? No, it wasn't too late. If he left rather earlier than that, people would say that he was running away. He wanted people to see what was going on. And of course, he would also want to see if the party could regain perspective. And they refused to do that. And let me drop this last line. You see, I congratulate Atiku. You know why I do? I congratulate Atiku because Atiku was able to prove to southern Nigeria that there is nothing like political South Nigeria. He proved it. He was able to prove it. He was able to organize northern Nigeria, and they backed him, and he won. Wike believed that he could win it as an individual, and he lost because he couldn't. Look, have you imagined what would have happened if Wike worked with Peter Obi, worked with Anyim, worked with Udomo Emmanuel, worked with even Anakwese? If he had worked with the 6 of them, and one of them being put forth, even Wike being put forth, I don't think that Atiku would have been able to stop it. But he believed he could go it alone. So he saw the extent that money can go. Money is not everything. He must return to the basics and understand that without Southern solidarity, he cannot be president. He cannot be president. Obasanjo demonstrated that he could be president without Southern solidarity because
Dr. Lome, if we allow you to go on, you will shoot out all your bullets before the war starts. Please allow us to call other guests, and then please stay with us. Don't go away.
Right.
Get back to you, please.
Thank you.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
I'm sticking with you. Thank you. Thank you for this opportunity.
Thank you. Please stay on. We'll come back to you in a while. Let's allow other guys to have it.
Thank you very much. I just want to welcome me, Honorable Sani Said, and also Honorable Said, please, if you ask the question, you can unmute your mic. Now, the question is, the Labour Party, do you think it's a better chance for Peter Obi having migrated completely to the Labour Party? Do you see this as a chance for him to win the election, being that Labour Party is not one of the known parties in Nigeria? No. If you're not speaking, can you mute yourself? Honorable, you have the floor.
Okay. Can you hear me?
Yes, Claire.
Good evening, all. I want to appreciate and commend the leadership of Newsband Television for finding me worthy to have some presentations here. I think you deserve a kudos from all many Nigerians, because you always ensure that you put people who are
actually. Honorable Said, please, can you take relax, take a short while to adjust your video so we can see your face, if you don't mind.
I think probably the light I'm using.
No, it's not the light. Just adjust it so that we can see it. That's fine. Even if it's dark, we are okay. Just adjust it the way you want. Very good. I think it's okay like this. Very nice. Good.
Okay. So thank you very much. As the presenter asked, to me, I felt Peter Obi made the best choice so far in his even political career entirely. This will show his worth to the public and even at a global level. Peter Obi has a very, very large followership, whom are mainly voters, not into active partisan politics. Just go back to our social media handles, the social media handles of Nigeria. You realize how powerful Peter Obi is. In almost all the votings that were ongoing online, all the polls ongoing online, you realize that Peter Obi is the only one winning. And those people voting him at every point in time are the voters, but they are not actively into politics. So he might face challenges in other political parties, such as the PDP, APC, or any other major political party. But in as much as he chooses another political party, it will determine how people support him. You can see from the congratulatory messages people are showering on him that he has already made the best choice. And for your information, myself, today, I joined the Labour Party, and I have also collected my membership card. And it is just because of Peter Obi that I did that. There are a lot of people out there who might not join the party, but on the D-Day of the election, they will be out en masse to vote for him. So with regard to your question, I think this is the best choice he has made so far. Had it been he is in the PDP, by now, after the primary election, we will have been very, very disappointed by the outcome. Just the Southeast is having about not less than 100 votes, I think, or less than 100 votes, delegate-wise. But even Pius Anyim, that was sharing money in the campaign ground, I think he scored less than 15 votes, less than 15 or 15 votes. So just look at it. This is so embarrassing. For the zone he came from, refused to vote him just because he cannot compete in terms of dollarization of the primary election. His own people did not even vote for him. So also, I think that was what exactly could have happened to Peter Obi. And by now, we would have been very, very angry with that situation. But now that we are not part of that mess, we are very happy. And every well-meaning Nigerian during the general election will go out to support and vote for Peter Obi. That is if he wants an improved economy, a growth in economy and development. If people in the north want to be secured from bandits, from terrorists, from herdsmen, and from all forms of insurgency and insecurity ravaging the northern part of Nigeria. We've seen before now, when Peter Obi was the governor of Anambra, although there was the clamoring for Biafra, but we've never experienced the issue of unknown gunmen. By then, there wasn't any uprising in Anambra at that point in time. Anambra was one of the safest states in the nation. He promotes the economic growth and development. He promotes infrastructure, education, and what have you. It was one of the least states with a very minimum level of illiteracy at that point in time. What is happening in Anambra State of recent is even out of control. Sorry, but permit me to mention this. Of recent, a pregnant woman was killed in Anambra State, including her 4 children were assassinated by unknown gunmen. And up to now, those people are yet to be fished out. I know had it been His Excellency Peter Obi is the governor of Anambra, by now he will not be sleeping until these people, the perpetrators of this evil act, were fished out.
Sani, sorry, let me quickly ask this question. Please, Angela, allow me to ask Sani this question. One of the criticisms against Peter Obi joining the Labour Party is that the Labour Party lacks structure. And so if they lack structure, how does Peter Obi intend to fund the Labour Party to compete in 36 states and FCT, 774 local governments? I had an estimate of 117 wards of polling units in Nigeria. How does he intend to fund the Labour Party to have this structure so as to compete with the major parties?
I don't agree with that. People are saying the Labour Party doesn't have structure. No, what Labour Party lacks is the fund to run the structure, the fund to have offices across all the 774 local governments, across all the wards, employ office secretaries and assistants, and also be lavishing money extravagantly on party executives. And I think we need such party with such ideology, people that will not be needing excess money to run their affairs. But when it comes to people on ground, I bet you that Labour Party has the largest structure and population. From the ward labor, there is no ward or local government you will not find workers. And they are part of that Labour Party. Already, I spoke with the vice chairman of the party in my state, Kaduna, and he told me that the labor union is now forming an alliance, or is now trying to establish an affiliation with the Labour Party. So now imagine this type of structure. All civil servants are not political touts. They are educated people who can mastermind how to win election on a fair and free basis. They don't wait for you to give them 500 naira or 1,000 naira or 5,000 naira because they already earn their income on monthly basis. And they want someone who will promote their source of living, who will be able to pay them the living wage, not the minimum wage, as Nigeria claims, which could not even be paid as of now. There are about 17 states here in the north that are not paying minimum wage. including Kano State, the commercial center. They cannot pay a common minimum wage. But I believe when Peter Obi emerged victorious in the 2023 election, their Labour Party, he will upgrade the standard of living of all laborers, not even formal laborers, but even the informal laborers. I mean, the megats, I mean, the security, these nail scotters, the laborers on the street. He will improve their standard of living via the Labour Party manifestos and ideology.
Okay.
So you saying that the Labour Party like structure is a total false and rumors spread by fools or people that are not aware of what the Labour Party entails. It has the largest structure as far as Nigeria is concerned. And I believe the Labour Union through the Labour Party is going to work tirelessly to ensure the victory of Peter Obi in the upcoming election.
Thank you very much for that submission. You did talk about support, people support. How do you think Peter Obi should go about getting support from the southern part of Nigeria? Because you mentioned northern part being supportive.
Please, can you come again? The network is breaking.
Support. And you said that northern Nigeria, they rally around their own, they have a good support system. How do you think Peter Obi should go about the support of the southern part of Nigeria so that southern Nigerians can also rally around him to give him the support that he needs to move up the ladder?
You see, I perceive that as a political statement. Going back to history, after the death of Umar Musa Yar'Adua, the Northerners voted Jonathan onto power. And he served for 4 years before the escalation of the Boko Haram insurgency, which led to his downfall. So now, what I can only say here that is true is probably political party affiliation. No, the party may decide to choose a candidate, but merely choosing the candidate by a political party doesn't determine what the Northerners are capable of doing. Let's go back to history. Who brought Obasanjo onto power? Was it not the Northerners at that point in time? From 1999 to 2007, Obasanjo enjoyed the support of the Northerners. After him, then Umar Musa Yar'Adua, who just spent 2 years and left. Jonathan came on board and spent 6 years. And he enjoyed massive support from the North. Although there are some people that were against that because he violated the zoning principle. And now Buhari came on board. Now, from what you are seeing, you can see that Buhari lacks the support of Northerners because he can't deliver anything so far. There is nothing that Buhari has delivered, even up to 30% expectation of the Northerners. He being the president is yet to be felt. The northern part of the Nigeria is still ravaged by insecurity, ravaged by poverty. You know, our economy is very, very poor. Look at the Al-Majri system in the north. Even the Daura, Katsina state of Buhari are part of the people suffering. So now it is just elitist thinking or approach that makes it seem that like the Northerners are enjoying the Buhari's government. But I can assure you that we are not benefiting, we are not enjoying. And we the Northerners, there are a lot of us that want someone, a tribalized Nigeria, someone with high pedigree, with zero tolerance for corruption and bribery. And that person is no one but Peter Obi from what we are seeing. Now you cannot differentiate Nigeria in general from ethnicity, religious bigotry, or regional and religious affiliation. I understand that. You cannot stop the Yoruba person from supporting his fellow Yoruba person. You cannot support an Igbo person from supporting his fellow Igbo person. Likewise, the Hausa people, you cannot support. But the political culture of the entire nation is developing at this point in time to a stage whereby we've seen where the Northerners rally around a Northerner in person of President Buhari, and now they are left behind suffering like a criminal caught in the middle of the market. This is the true condition of a pure Northerner, an ordinary Northerner like me, who has no stake in governance, or who has no relative affiliated to APC or PDP.
Thank you very much for that
situation now. So you can't say that the Northerners.
For time's sake, please. Thank you for your submission. Let's move on to the next guest, and that is Honorable Ahmed Sajo. He's also here. For you, Honorable Sir, what do you think would be the major setback that Peter Obi or his support team might experience in the forthcoming elections? Sajo, please, Honorable Sajo, please unmute yourself and take the floor.
Okay, thank you very much. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay. You can hear me?
Yes, we can.
Okay. I am glad I finally managed to join you. And I'm happy I'm with you on this. But let me be very clear on certain things. And one of them is the fact that for as long as Nigerian political system is transactional, it means only people who have money can make any political impact, and it means that party oligarchs hold the political system. That is very dangerous, that is very bad, and that is what makes the likes of Peter Obi have difficulty, making any inroads into the political arena. I really understand with him, and I really feel sorry for him because I'm sorry for my country, Nigeria. Peter Obi is one of the very few Nigerians that are genuinely patriotic and that have capacity to provide good leadership and good direction to our country, Nigeria. But such people hardly get the nod of party oligarchs, and such individuals hardly get the nod of the political elite, who have monetized the system to a level where the whole politics of this country has become transactional. And unfortunately, we are saddled with that situation. But that is just one out of many other, mishaps that we have found ourselves in. The fact that our politics is also regional, our politics is ethnic, our politics is to a large extent religious, is also a very huge minus. We're increasingly becoming irresponsible ourselves as a people. A person comes from your place, he increases your misery, and you still think that you're only safe with him in leadership. And so the leaders have realized that we're not after issues, we're not after performance, we're not after what they can offer, but we're after that the man is from my place. Now, when it comes to this, unfortunately, under the circumstances we find ourselves in, people like Peter Obi are bound to suffer. Suffer not because they are not fit, suffer not because they are not qualified, suffer not because they do not have capacity, but they are bound to suffer because the system itself does not favor honest leadership. Look at it very well. The Southeast, that is supposed to be the base of Peter Obi, what is the position of the Southeast in the politics of this country? Yesterday, I saw the PDP. I wept for the Southeast. For all the clamor of power rotating to the Southeast, regardless of whether Peter Obi had left the PDP or not, with 95 delegate votes from the Southeast, the 3 Southeasterners that contested had a total of 16 votes, 14-1-1. Very dismal, very annoying. Now look at it again from a different context and from a different perspective. What exactly is happening? Why is the Southeast not understanding that politics is a game of numbers? Take Anambra, for example. The governor of Anambra State today, Charles Lodo, was elected by a total of 154,000 votes. 154,000 people electing a governor for a 5 million people population. That is terrible. That does not tell other regions that, look, man, let's take these people very seriously. I think we need to reconfigure our politics. First, do away with money or transactions as part of our political culture. Secondly, try to see if we can take over our politics from the party oligarchs, make it a people-oriented politics. And thirdly, begin to raise the numbers. The numbers, ordinary people must wake up. We beyond social media. We have seen.
Honorable Sajo, excuse me to interject here, please. And Angela,
please carry on. Please carry on. These problems you have enumerated. Yeah.
Do you see them as an obstacle to Peter Obi's path to the presidency now that he has joined the party?
Definitely. Definitely. I was part of the Calabar Declaration that set up the Labour Party. The intention when we set up the Labour Party was that it would be modeled along the Labour parties all over the world, where the workers determine what the Labour Party will be like, what issues the Labour Party will move, how the Labour Party will establish structures based on the existence of trade unions across the country. This was our original concept. I was in Calabar under the late Pascal Bafiao. I remember very well. We all sat down and determined. But even the workers themselves do not even know what they want. Beyond strike, beyond bread and butter issues, even when they go on strike, they don't go on strike demanding for, say, like restructuring Nigeria or strengthening institutions or creating enabling environment for better performance by institutions or better education for the citizens or better governance. They all go for on strike over salaries and allowances. And once the ruling class understands that the psychic of the average worker is bread and butter issues, they give us the bread and butter and go away. So we have structural defects within our system. But Peter is a very good man. The Labour Party is a good platform. The Labour Party can properly galvanize, provide the kind of vehicle for him, for us to establish a leadership that can function for the country. But is it possible? Can we do it? Is it doable? Well, I doubt. And I'm really worried. I doubt and I'm really worried. I don't know. Let's see how it plays out. Let's see how much support the labor unions will give the Labour Party. Let's see how much support the Labour Party itself can give itself. When people talk about Labour Party not having structures, I mean, there is no local government in this country where there is no NOLGE. At the minimum, there is no local government where there is no NUT. At the minimum, there is no local government in this country where there is no NURTW. These are the labor unions that are supposed to drive the Labour Party. But the labor unions would rather pander to the interests of party oligarchs, pander to the interests of the oppressive ruling class, members of the ruling class who are responsible for the backwardness that we suffer in this country, than go for a progressive process based on the fact that labor movement all over the world is a progressive movement. I don't know. I pray that Peter succeeds, but here we are.
What's your advice on how to bring in workers so that they can move beyond looking for bread and butter, like you said, and look for striking things which you mentioned?
I think that would be a tall order. And I will tell you, my dear sister, when I was very active in the labor movement, part of what we agreed that could work for the labor movement was training and education of labor union members, labor union operatives. But over time, the labor itself developed its own labor oligarchs, whose lifestyle is not anywhere different from the oligarchs in other sectors of the economy. Labor leader, for the first time in my life, I visited the labor leader's house, who later became a prominent politician anyway. And that was when I saw a marbled swimming pool. And I began to ask myself, is this the kind of labor union for which I was arrested and locked up? To build up labor leaders that could build marbled, swimming pools. So at a point, even the labor leadership began to behave exactly the same way with the oppressors that we're kind of against. And they're the ones that are connived with the oppressors to oppress the workers. So generally speaking, I don't know, training and education is the key. Once you're trained, educated, and conscientized, you will not be manipulated by people who will use you for their selfish end. But I pray that the Labour Party becomes vibrant enough to enable Peter Obi provide the kind of challenge that we require. He is the kind of person that can introduce issue-based campaigns in Nigerian politics. Right now, what we're talking about, we're just talking about personalities. Mr. A will be better than Mr. B. Mr. A has more money than Mr. B. Mr. A, is from section so and so with a larger vote than Mr. B. These are the issues we're talking about. Nobody's talking about Nigeria. Nobody's saying this person can make Nigeria better, because these are the ideas he's bringing to the table. We pray that Peter Obi brings those ideas to table. And if he brings those ideas to table, I tell you, some of us will definitely support the process of changing the narrative of the way we run our politics from bread and butter issues, from personality issues, to actually, real issues of development, real issues of progress, real issues that will make Nigeria a better country.
Thank you very much for your submission. At this point, we'll give the floor to Mr. Azike Nnamdi. Please unmute yourself and get your question answered. Of course, you have the floor after the question. So some Nigerians have said that Peter Obi is a social media president, and I would like you to talk about this. What do you think? Mr. Azike, please unmute yourself. You have the floor. Ms. Azike, can you hear me, please? Ms. Azike, please kindly unmute yourself.
If I can identify his position, I can help to see if we can directly ask him to.
Up on number 4, thereabouts.
Azike. Okay, he's submitted now. He's submitted. Either his network is having issues. Do we have another guest around?
No, not so. I don't think so.
All right. Some people. Go ahead. Go ahead, Angel.
Go ahead. Okay, let's take the questions in the comment sections. This is from Ndubisi Modozie. Please, how can we pass a message to Peter Obi to desist from addressing Atiku Abubakar as his leader? In a tweet to congratulate Atiku, he addressed Atiku as his leader. That can send mixed messages.
I think Dr. Lon Mefort addressed this problem. He's one of his ardent supporters. Is Dr. Mefort still with us?
He came in at some point. Let me see if he's still here. Unfortunately, he's not here.
Okay, Honorable Sadio, do you think it's wise for Peter to continue to address Atiku as his leader? What do you think, sir? Please unmute yourself.
You serve even for one day under somebody. Is your leader. And I think humility is a very good virtue. And anybody who is not ready and willing to follow is not qualified to lead. I respect him for what he's doing. I understand the mixed messaging very well. I understand how some people would feel that the mixed messaging could be a bit confusing. But it's not confusing. What he is trying to say is that once upon a time in my life, this man was my leader, and he remains my leader. Even if I become the president of the country, I once attempted to serve as a vice president under him. I think it's just a matter of humility and a matter of respect. If you look at the military, which is one of the most disciplined institutions in the world, once a person gets his commission before you, he becomes your senior for life. If you look at the legal profession, no matter what happens, if the person's name is registered in the bar register before you, he becomes your senior. I think there's nothing wrong in it. We all give birth to children. Our children could be better than us, but it doesn't stop them from being our own children. I think he's humble. He understands his position as a humble person, and I respect him for being humble. There's nothing wrong with him. But by the time he begins to campaign directly as a candidate with Atiku, of course, he would have to address him as an opponent in a context. But when he looks back, of course, he must acknowledge that he served him as a running mate. So the two positions are not mutually exclusive.
Okay, thank you very much. So we go back to the comment section and we see Peter, this is coming from Otobong. He says that Obi doesn't need Nigeria for anything, nothing. But Nigeria needs Obi earnestly. Now his question is, how do the North and the South feel? How do the Southwest feel about Peter? You can answer. Honorable Sani, please unmute yourself. Should I take the question again?
Okay, can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Okay, because the network was breaking while we are speaking. I'm having a little challenges with my network.
Okay.
Can you please?
The question is, how do the North and the Southwest feel about Peter Obi?
You see, the North generally knew who Peter Obi is. To me, he is a detribalized as well as a corrupt free person. He is very smart and very intelligent. And to me, I believe he is the type of president Nigeria needs on emergency basis, because Nigeria is at the verge of disintegration currently. So Nigeria needs a person who can unite the nation.
Sani, with Atiku Abubakar on the ticket now, we are certain of that. We don't yet know who is coming from APC. Do you really think that it will be easy for P2B to muster enough votes from the northwest and northeastern part of the country?
You see, going back to performance, there is nothing you can point out directly that Atiku has ever benefited the North from. Go to his home state. What sort of development has he brought to his state after spending 8 years as a president, apart from the private university he established, which is directly benefiting and milking Nigerians dry from that? Come to the North generally. What do the North have to say on Atiku in terms of any physical development, either human capacity development or in terms of infrastructure? There is no any meaningful development that can attribute it to Atiku. We all knew that Atiku milked the nation's treasury to make himself extremely wealthy. But to the common man, he has never felt any impact of Atiku. But what about Peter Obi? There are a lot of things, he has done in Anambra that could be replicated at the nation, that's in general. I know definitely due to some sentimental reasons, then some of the Northerners will vote for Atiku. But with proper campaigning, proper structuring, proper penetration of the North, Peter Obi is going to pull a very good vote from the North. What is required to win any election is 25% from each state. So I believe there are some states in the North that Peter Obi is capable of attracting even up to 40% or even more than that. While Atiku and Kwankwaso struggle for the remaining. If you remove Kano, Kwankwaso in the North, might not produce large chunk of vote in other states. And Atiku cannot penetrate the middle belt or not central compared to what Peter Obi can do. That is, if all the necessary machineries are put in place. And in the South, in the Northeast, where Atiku comes from, the APC there control almost all the states with the exception of 2 states. That's Taraba and Adamawa. So if you calculate the vote coming out from Atiku's zone, you see that it is going to be divided into 4. That's Atiku, APC, NNPP, and now Labour Party. So if we can be able to attract 25% from that zone for Peter Obi, I think we'll give them a tough time in the Northwest. And Peter Obi is capable of generating more votes than all of them in the North Central. But as my co-speaker made mention, even in the Southeast, there are a lot of problems. Just like he enumerated the example of Anambra election, where Charles Soludo win with just 100 plus, I think less than 200 votes. He won a governorship position, given the fact that the state has almost 5 million people in it. So proper campaigning, proper channeling of Peter Obi's ideology need to be, conducted technically in order to sell him. And he's already a very sellable commodity, but people need to vote in mass. You see, in the North, when it is time for voting, everything stops. Everyone goes to vote. Because even if you are staying in your house, you will not feel comfortable while others are at the battlefield. Our religious leaders always preach for people to go and vote. Our religious leaders preach for people. So when you are living in the comfort of your room, not going out to vote, you feel as if you are committing a crime or a sin. Because everyone is out. So you also need to go and vote. So this is the type of feeling the Southeasterners need to be having in their mind, that this is the time for us to change the situation.
All right, Honorable Sani, thank you very much. Angela, allow me to call Honorable Sadio to respond whether he agrees with Honorable Sani's summation, the chances of P2B making inroads into the Northwest when it comes to the election. And please, in the next 3 minutes, please start inviting comments from our general audience in the next 3 minutes. But let's allow Honorable Sadio to say whether he agrees with Honorable Sani at this point, sir. And also, we'd like to know whether any of our guests are now able to speak, Azike, Namdi, and others. Honorable Sadio, we call on you. Can you please unmute yourself, please, if you can?
Hello, do you read me now?
Yes, go ahead.
Can I make an observation?
Please do.
You know, the best form of campaign anybody can do for Peter Obi or any candidate for that matter is to actually respect other candidates. Everything my brother said, not everything he said are true. And I think saying uncomplimentary things about Waziri Adamawa Atiku Abubakar is not going to sell Peter Obi. I come from Adamawa, I've never worked for Atiku, I've never campaigned for Atiku, I've never been in the same party with Atiku throughout my stay in politics. But that does not mean that anybody can say uncomplimentary things about Atiku and I feel happy. And just as if anybody says anything uncomplimentary about Peter Obi, I will still not be very happy. Anybody that has been put across to rule this country is qualified to rule this country, is a respected senior citizen in this country. I think we should respect ourselves and respect the people that we work with. Peter Obi will not be very happy if in trying to campaign for him, somebody makes very uncomplimentary remarks about Atiku Abubakar. Some of the things said are not true. Some of the things said are beyond limit. I want us to keep it at the level at which we just continue to mention the positive attributes of Mr. Peter Obi. He deserves to be mentioned in positive light. We don't have to say bad things about any other person to prove that he is positive. We don't have to say anything bad about any other person to prove that he could get Ghana votes in northern Nigeria. The bottom line is that, like I said earlier, politics is a game of numbers. Politics works under the ambit of the law. The law has stated very clearly what qualifies a person to be the president of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. The person must first and foremost have the highest number of votes cast in an election, and he must have 1/3 of the votes cast in at least 2/3 of the states. This means that every presidential candidate in this country must work very hard to win support from across the country. And I think that is where we should keep our discussions to. It doesn't matter how bad the other person is. We are talking about how good the person we are supporting is. And I think we should keep it at that. And then let me just by way of closing the discussion on this matter, say that no matter what anybody pledges to give any candidate in any election, that candidate must have a base. Just like you will not build a house without a foundation. the Peter Obi and all his promoters, the Labour Party, must work very hard on the base. The Southeast must stand very solidly behind Mr. Obi, not because he's a tribalist, but because everybody has a home. And charity begins at home. It may not end there. It goes out of the home, but there has to be some level of charity at home. So we must go back first and work on our homes. Give him a base. Let's say this, no matter what happens, whether you like Konkoso or not, you can't take Kano away from him. And as we're talking now, I am from Adamawa State. Adamawa people are saying, even if all of Nigeria say we don't like Atiku, we in Adamawa will stand by him. That's what Adamawa people are saying. So we're saying every politician must have a base from where he or she stands to reach out to other people. So let's go back, work on our base, use that as a springboard to reach out to other people. It doesn't matter what other people are doing, we're doing it for our own person.
Thank you very much. Okay, so we go back to the comment section. We see this message from Famous Black Dude. He said, I have also concluded my Labour Party membership. Congratulations. And the next is from Dom. Dom says, is it true that Labour Party is factionalized and the other faction threatening Peter Obi's candidacy? Honorable. Honorable sir, please, there's a question.
Yeah, if Honorable is, Honorable Sajo, are you able to comment on alleged factionalization of the Labour Party?
No, I think what is happening is that because Peter Obi is a very beautiful bride, and there is a marriage proposal between the beautiful bride of Nigerian politics, so to say, and the Labour Party, there are bound to be some people who will say when the negotiations for the bride price was conducted, not every member of the Umunna was involved. So, so because of that, some members of the Umunna will want to say, involve us, otherwise we will, create some problems. But I don't think that because the entire Umunna did not sanction the marriage, that the marriage did not take place, especially if a reasonable number of the elders and a reasonable members of the family have all met and agreed on the bride price and they've taken the wine. So let's leave that aside. The position as at today is that the recognized leadership of the Labour Party by INEC had agreed that Peter Obi is a member of the Labour Party and he is likely going to be the candidate of the Labour Party. Don't forget that the new electoral law had spelled out very clearly how political parties would establish, would conduct their congresses and conventions to elect their candidates. If the Labour Party does not fulfill those conditions, INEC will not recognize the candidature of Peter Obi. So we must look at it all from different contexts. And one of those very, very important contexts of all of things that are happening is the legal context through which these things would have to happen. So let's look at it very, very dispassionately. I think that the law will define and determine whether Peter Obi is a bona fide candidate or not. And the law has also already determined who are the leaders of the Labour Party. INEC is the supervising institution. INEC has recognized the leadership that Peter Obi is dealing with. So any other leadership, if it's not a leadership that is recognized by law, is not a leadership, it's just members of the extended Umuna setup saying the marriage ceremony was conducted while we were away. Give us our own wine and give us the share of whatever was shared at the wine carrying traditional wedding. Otherwise, we will continue to complain. That's the way I look at it.
Okay. Thank you very much. Time's sake, we'll move back to the comment section. And this is from Anthony Amadi. He says, Peter Obi has the money to throw around. If he did, how is he different from what he wants to change? Party. Innocent says the Peter Obi for president's movement must be explained to the grassroots, especially workers of Nigeria, to encourage them to have the confidence to come out and vote for him. Can we pass a message to, I think we took this message.
All right, 1 second. I think I'm seeing Azike. I want to ask, Azike, are you the Azike Nnamdi that is one of our guests?
Not.
No. Okay, please call on the guys that is raising up their hand. Let's hear their comments or whether it's question or not.
Okay. Innocent, Azzy. Innocent, please take the floor.
Okay, good evening. Can you hear me?
Very clear.
Very well. Thank you, the duo, for this occasion. I'm calling from Abuja, and I want to appreciate Ahmad Sajo for his interventions. Has been very, very great. I want to in the mix to say that before now, had confidence. I'm not had confidence in the electoral process because it's riddled with rigging. Okay, so the Electoral Act 2022 is giving us the first opportunity to really have their votes count. So that means that the job now, and the talking about structure, Peter's structure is the whole of Nigeria. So the important thing now is to really dig in and get the votes out from the Nigerian people, explaining the virtues and the paradigm that Mr. Obi represents. I think it is really, really doable. And talking about, the vote from across the country, 84 million people registered to vote in 2019 election, and probably just about 40% of that came out. So it's not just in one region of the country, it's the whole over. So and if you remove the content of rigging, you find that it is not just the Southeast, but again, a lot of work has to be done to market Peter Obi's candidacy, and that is where the strength remains. Now, with respect to labor, labor as in the labor unions coming into Labour Party, it's important that they're educated, like he said. It's also important to know that what Peter is looking at is raising the productivity of the economy, which rests on labor. And that will have to do with building the capacity of labor members to be able to make that contribution. So, and they have to understand that, look, much as you have your job to do, but this party is going to empower you to make that contribution and remunerate you appropriately. Okay, so if we do that, those structures at the rural areas will not become excited to be part of this, not just because of their votes, because they are not too much, maybe 330 million or something, no, 3 million workers or something, but because they can now dig out, they go to become the people that will go out to get the votes for Mr. Peter Obi. I want to appreciate this opportunity. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much for that brief one. Okay, so we take the next hand raised. That's Mr. Azike. Azike, please, you have the floor. Mute yourself. Mr. Azike, can you hear me? Okay, we'll move on to the next. Akere Oyedo. Akere, please unmute yourself and take the floor.
Hello, sorry. Okay.
Azike is here.
Okay,
please,
that is Azike. Can I have the floor?
Please.
Okay, my name is Celestina.
Hello, can I go ahead now?
Hello?
We can hear you, please.
Okay, good evening. Thank you for this opportunity. opportunity. We have, I want to react on two very important questions raised. Saying that P2B is a candidate for the social media. Yes, the whole social media is agog with campaigns and endorsements of Mr. P2B. You will agree with me that this set of people, the youths and the elites, they are the highest users of this social media. And these are the people that in the past are indifferent, reluctant to come out to vote. Now they have seen the situation and they have realized that this is an opportunity for them to take back their country. Take, for instance, a worker earning 450,000 naira in 2015 is about $3,000. Now the same worker is going home with about $600, going by the exchange rate. We need P2B to address this issue. Everybody is spending out his energy to work just to feed. On the situation of his base home state, you agree with me that 2019, Anambra State, his home state, voted in support of PDP when Obi was a presidential candidate. And they put 524,000 votes, even more than Atiku in Adamawa State. Yes, there are some security challenges in Anambra State as we speak, but believe me, those things will be sorted out, as the present governor is already putting things together to ensure there is security. You agree with me that P2B, despite the fact that he's in different party with the ruling party in Anambra, made his tension known to his people, his kinsmen, in the government house of Anambra State. With the 177 town unions, you know how powerful town unions, president generals are in Anambra State. That's an indication to tell you that he has a very strong support base. Give security in Anambra State. Anambra State is going to give P2B nothing less than 1 million votes. Aside that fact, P2B is a businessman, the business sector. They are going to support P2B because they know he's good in wealth creation, the manufacturing sector. That is why everywhere in social media is agog with endorsement for P2B. The North, the South, the East, and the West. We beckon on all of us to support P2B because he is the only one discussing the issues, not about throwing jabs, mudsliding, and all this one. We are pleading this opportunity for us to take this country to the path of development, and it will be well with all of us. Thank you very much for this opportunity.
Thank you for your submission. We go over to Akere Oyedo. Please unmute yourself and take the floor.
All right, good evening, everybody.
Very good evening to you.
All right, my name is Akere Oyedo, and I'm joining live from Port Harcourt, Rivers State. I want to thank the organizers of this meeting. I'm quite impressed, and I'm happy this is going on at this time. I want to quickly mention the issue of low voters turnout in parts of the South, especially Anambra State, as mentioned earlier. If you agree with me, you know that most of the numbers we see from those areas, is that we have issue with registration around this area. We have difficulties registering as voters. It's very difficult to register in the certain part, very, very difficult. So it's frustrating. So that is why you see most people don't even bother registering, because you have to go to work. You work. So you can't go and spend the whole day trying to register for something you may not even see. And at the end of the day, get your PVC from Abuja. You don't get it. I know of some adults, grown up about 6 of them, during the 6 of them went for registration. They were able to register. We were giving voters card. None of them, no one got voters card. So you can see the reason why we continue to have low voters number around this region. Now, talking about Peter Obi, Peter Obi is a national figure. Get that right. And he's a sellable candidate, right? To be honest with you, Nigerians are fed up with PDP and APC, and they are just fed up. And the truth is that Nigerians are kind of, they are tired, they are helpless, they are kind of hopeless, they don't know what to do about this situation. Because these are the guys that are in control of political structures. And they hold it, and they hold the yam. So what do we do? Now we have Peter Obi on the table. It's a sellable candidate. What the team should do is to go on massive campaign, using different languages of Nigeria, using every media possible, both social media, electronic media, for campaign for Peter Obi. Let's say Obi's ideology to Nigerians. Nigerians are tired of APC, they are tired of PDP, they are tired of corruption and malpractices and corruption. Believe that Obi can fix this country. So the what we should do is to see how we can push the Obi ideology to the heart and minds of Nigeria, across Nigeria. From north to south, east and west, let's push it. You'll be surprised that I'm not even a current member of the Labour Party, but I'm a supporter of Peter Obi. I think the time has come for us to vote for a candidate and not for a party. It has never favored to vote for a party. It has never favored to vote for a regional candidate. It's time to vote for someone we know will be able to deliver the service that is required. We can't have another 8 years of misfortune. Let's don't just, we need to get it right this time. That is just my whole point. Thank you very much.
Mr. Akere. Please, Mark Ben, unmute yourself and take the floor. Mark Ben,
okay, thank you. Thank you so much. Good evening, everyone. I must say that this meeting is very timely. I'm Mark Ben Idam, and I'm from Ebonyi State. I want to take a different view from what everyone has been saying. First of all, I want to also say that Honorable Ahmad Sajo really made a very valid point. Yes, there is a room for propaganda in politics, very certain. But while we are pushing propaganda, propaganda could also be a means of campaigning for your opponents if we are not careful. So while the propaganda is going on, why P2B is becoming more popular today is because, one, what the hoodlum in Rivers State has done, to, the calumny, the campaign of calumny that have been going on, even against P2B. And I also have heard that so many people have been paid to destabilize Labour Party as against the candidacy of P2B. It is not surprising. But I want to also enjoin us, especially the people that genuinely love P2B. Because yes, talk is very cheap in politics. Talk is very cheap in politics. Even the people who are working against you could praise you to the high heavens. Whereas inside, they are really working very much against you. So I want to say that we have to drive home all our strategies. One is to ensure that people on our strongholds get their voter card. Because if we don't have our voters card, we could make all comments, we could shout from now till tomorrow and nothing will happen. The elite will still carry the day because this is now a fight of the masses against the elite. That is how it is in Nigeria. But I still doubt if Nigerians have really woken to the reality of our time. Because if they have, I wouldn't see any youth supporting PDP or APC today. Be it as it may, I will only say that we have to intensify our efforts, intensify our strategies. So many that we cannot even outline here on a Zoom meeting because we don't know who is who. But most of us are doing our own internally, doing what we can do to ensure that this project is achieved and solidly achieved. So I want to say also that in our respective areas, we campaign, we also influence who we can influence in any area we can, even in schools, even in churches, because like Honorable Sergio rightly said, if our religious leaders, especially in the East, can come out from their white rooms, so to say, and really know that politics involves everybody, talk to the masses, talk to the people, talk to the congregation, and enable them to get their voters card and vote and participate actively in this process. I wouldn't see any reason why P2B will not win. Yes, the names are all over the social media, all over the place. But again, someone will ask, what is Labour Party? Somebody said one day we were conversing, he said Labour Party does not have structure, that P2B's movement to Labour Party has actually killed his political career. But I also told that person that if the youth of this country and women, especially youth and women, because these are the people that vote, the electorate are made up of the youth and women. If they can be sensitized appropriately by one, telling them the logos of Labour Party, telling them the logos of Labour Party, and ensuring they know all these things offhand, even without being told, just say in our different languages, sensitize these people, the old, the young, especially the women, because it's the women that actually drive the electoral process, the real electoral process, not carrying of ballot boxes. So I want to also say that we drive our campaign home, drive our strategies home, and ensure that our people are well sensitized. That is my contribution. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. Godson Okereke, you have the floor now. Kindly unmute yourself and make your submission.
Okay, good evening all. Can you hear me?
We can hear you.
Okay, I just want to contribute on 2 points. Number one, which has been widely discussed on the issue of making a strong base for him, especially in the Southeast. So I will encourage in our own little way, and the last speaker said about using our churches, because there is an adage in the Igbo that says, whatever you are doing, it starts from your house. So if the home front for him, Southeast as a base, is not strong, definitely other people, other regions can use it against him. So we hope that we are going to work on that. And also the people that are the hem of affair will look at that, and let's see how we can get that sorted out. Number two, I want to say this to the leaders of Labour Party. You know that anything that these other guys set their mind on destroying, they go anywhere to do that. So let's look at any opportunity, that any loophole legally that could give the opponents an idea or an in route into Labour Party, Labour as a party. Look at all the legal aspect to make sure that there is nothing that is lacking in case somebody takes to court and do these they get court injunction in one area. So Honorable, just help us, like you said, legally everything looks okay. So let's have another look at it, because if at the end he emerges, people will look for loopholes. If they don't get him personally, they will look at loopholes in the party that he has joined, which is Labour Party. So by doing that, if we tighten all those knots, anywhere they look at it, they go, they will not be able to have any negative inroute that will affect his candidacy negatively. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much for that contribution. We really appreciate it. Okay, so we've exhausted all the hands raised, and let's take this comment right here. It's coming from...
1 second, Angel. Let's allow our guests now to respond to the comments, and then we conclude the program.
Okay.
if you don't mind. Call our guests that are still here one by one, please.
They are not here at the moment. Honorable isn't here. Doctor isn't here.
Honorable Sajo is here. Honorable Sajo, I'm sure you must have had the comments that I made. Do you have any response and concluding comments?
He's not here. Honorable, please unmute yourself.
Yeah.
Okay.
Can you hear me now? Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay. I said the comments that have been made are all very germane to the discussion we are having. And but I just want us to not to be cautious of beginning to feel that the aggregate views that we read in social media are actually the views of Nigerians generally. I think we need to work hard. We need to build on what we want to achieve very gradually. We need to establish a basis upon which we will situate the candidature. We need to situate this candidature also on, the party itself on a sound footing. Remember, the Labour Party at one point in time, the Zenith Labour Party had a government in Ondo somewhere. It's quite possible. It's doable, it's winnable, but we have to be very careful. We have to be cautious. We don't have to be over generous with our feeling of massive support. There is no massive support as such. Massive support is structured, is cultivated, is created. It's not something you assume exists. We have to be mindful of legal minefields. We have to be very mindful of what opposition elements could, inflict on the party and the candidate. And at the end of the day, yes, Peter Obi is a very good product to sell, but we have to be very careful. I tell you that when you are operating politics within an ecosystem, you have to be mindful of everything within that ecosystem. The Nigerian political ecosystem is one of the worst in the world. I say it with pain because I'm part of the political ecosystem. We've become too transactional. We've surrendered most of the powers that are supposed to be held by political parties or by members of political parties. We have surrendered it to party oligarchs. We have also developed a template that does not care about democracy itself. Interests of individuals override the interests of majority. So we need to reconfigure everything, deconstruct a lot of myths around the political process so that we can enthrone a regime that works for the ordinary Nigerian people. And this is a very hard and a very tough task to be done, but I am not saying it's impossible to do. And I am not also saying that the Labour Party or Peter Obi cannot be made to be acceptable to Nigerians, but there's a lot of hard work. Anybody that tells you that there's not going to be hard work, that is it's given. The last time in 2019, the person with about over 3 million followers on Facebook did not get up to 200,000 votes. And I also know that very recently we had the case of somebody who had 2.5 million followers on Twitter and 350,000 followers on Facebook, who ended up getting 2 votes at the delegate election. So we must be very careful. There's no shortcut to working very hard to build a political structure that can serve the interest of the purpose for which we want it to serve. That's just what I would say as a concluding remark.
Thank you very much for your time and for all your suggestions, contributions. We really appreciate for okay. Yeah, it's on Instagram and our YouTube that you can ask me. This is Van saying thank you very much for your time here, and we hope to see you when next we gather here. From me to you, have a pleasant night rest.